Hey guys, before we start on this one, I just want to give you a quick walk around of this thing here. We have old mower that's been sitting here for several years, and we're gonna try and give it a revival. Um, it's old yard machines. Year unknown. I will give you that clip, and the next clip I'll go ahead and give the information on it. But anyway, I just want to show you where it's currently sitting. You know, she's sunk right into the mud and everything. Mower been sitting here for several years, and I had a woman ask me to revive it, which of course I'm going to. But we got an old Tecumseh Enduro sitting here, and I don't know. Let's see if we can't make it run again. So basically what I'm gonna do, this is actually only a few yards over from the garage. Basically what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna air up the tires, push it over to the garage, and see if we can't make it run, cut grass and all that other good stuff. So I'll be right back. Hi, and welcome back to Jerry Burns Garage. So here's the mower that I showed in the last clip. I got it cleaned up a little bit. Ended up being, it's a 1998 machine. It's 13 horsepower, 38-inch cut with the variable speed drive set up on it and everything. It's going to need some work. Now, I'm going to be upfront and honest with you. My main issue right now on this mower is actually the owner. And I don't have a problem with her. Don't get me wrong there. But this woman is 85 years old. She's not in the best of health. And I'm really leery that she's actually going to be able to use this thing when we fix it. So we're going to go pretty much as budget as we can just to get it. We want to get it running and cutting and everything just to see whether or not she can actually handle it before we start, dumping money into it. But let me give you a quick walk around here, and we'll show you what the actual issue is, the main issue. But for one, we got the blades. I don't know if you can even see it. Really hard. You can see the blades split right in half and everything. The blades are shot. The belts don't look too bad on it, but I pulled the dipstick earlier. We are way over full on oil and everything, but I'll go to the main issue just 1 second here. So the story I'm getting from her is that she had a relative work on this thing a few years back, and the mower was running rough, and supposedly this guy put a brand new carburetor on it, and after the carburetor install, it would not run at all. Now here's my issue with that whole setup. If you look at the carburetor itself, I mean, look right here. We got all caked on grease, baked on and everything. I don't think that this is a new carburetor. So, I mean, I do see a new fuel line and everything. Now, the only issue with this thing here, I'm not going to lie, the gentleman that did the work on this mower, he's no longer with us. I'm not going to bash the guy. I'm not going to bash the woman that owns it because, she may be confused as to what he did or whatever. But this has got the old Vector style carburetor on it, where you can, the float bowl actually unclips instead of unscrews. We'll get into that after. But right now, I have the battery charging, and we're going to see if this thing will spin over before we go for any further with it. And so we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, guys, we got this battery back in. Her battery that was in this thing was a 2016. It's not hearing it. I tried everything I could to get it some life, and it's not going to charge. So anyway, this is something out of one of my old mowers. It's not that great, but I think it's enough to crank it. But we got everything hooked up. So let's go ahead, put you over here, and let's hope that this thing will actually crank for us. Because that'd be a nice thing instead of having to spend all day trying to figure that mess out. very good, but hopefully that'll be enough to at least get a bark out of it, if it'll even do that. Give her a spray. See if we can get anything at all out of it. Just about. All right. That's what I wanted to hear. All right. All right. Well, I guess we're getting somewhere with it. One thing I noticed when I just happened to look earlier, I don't know if you can even see in there, that gas is like maple syrup. So we're not even gonna mess with that. So give me a few minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this carburetor. We're gonna get it on a bench and take a look inside of it, because I think that's where our issue lies, but we'll be back shortly. All right, guys, you're gonna have to bear with me on this one. It's been many, many, many years since I played with one of these carburetors, but here it is. It's called a Vector carburetor. The only engine I've ever seen it on is a Tecumseh, and I've only seen them on push mowers. This is the first one I've seen on a ride mower. But as I said, it's like an old, it's like a master cylinder on a car. You actually got to pop this little clip off of here, like so. Like so, and then your whole float bowl just drops out of there. Like that. See that? You got basically what you could do on this carburetor. You could actually just drop this and leave the rest of the carb on the thing, but where this thing's been sitting as long as it has, I thought it would be best off to get that out of there. But you're gonna have a little it's kind of like an emulsion tube right here, which should pop out of there. It's got a little O-ring that holds it in, so that thing's stuck. I'm gonna have to spray this thing down a little bit. Your jet's gonna be right here where the screw is. Okay, get that out of there. If I remember right, there's a spring that holds the jet in place or something like that. It's been quite a while since I've done one of these things. But yeah. Yeah, everything is just, yeah, I see the spring and everything in there. Everything, give me a couple minutes. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. We'll get it apart, and I'll show you it, putting it back together, because right now this thing's not going to cooperate. But I'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, and we're back. Sorry about that. Everything was all swelled up on this carburetor, so it took me a minute to get it apart. Anyway, here's your emulsion tube, like I said, which is going to slide down into the thing here. But the one problem is we are missing parts. There's actually a spring that goes under this, and that's going to actually hold it up in place. And that spring was missing, so I think that's why this carburetor wouldn't run. It's actually the guy that taught me how to work on these carburetors. He said that's a very common problem. He goes, people pull that spring, lose it, and it never goes back in. I know what approximately the size is on it. I think I may be able to cobble something up on there. So there's one of our problems. That's probably why it wouldn't run at all. Basically, your emulsion tube's gonna fit, up flush up against the bottom of the carburetor. So with that spring missing, it wasn't getting the seal. So I think that's the number one issue. The reason it was running poor, here's another O-ring. See how swelled that thing is? This is 1/8 inch possibly. I'm gonna have to look that up. It's, that thing is swelled so bad that it wasn't allowing enough fuel to get through. So that So what happens, that O-ring goes in first. Then you got your jet right here, which that has a spring on it as well. And then you have the little screw. It's got a little gasket on it and everything. That's all there is to one of these carburetors. So, like I said, I gotta figure out the size of these O-rings, head to a parts store or something, get that. I think off a regular carburetor, like the little idle adjustment screw, that little spring that's on there, I believe I can make that work for this spring that needed for this. So, hopefully with all that, we'll be all set. But I will let you know shortly on that. All right, and we're back. I had to find some O-rings and everything, which I did. But I'm gonna give you a quick size comparison. Here's that one I was telling you was bad. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now, you can pick these up at a parts store or whatever. Inside diameter is 1/8 inch. The outside diameter is 1/4 inch. Unfortunately, I had to buy a variety pack of them. So now I got a bunch of more O-rings that I'll probably never use. But whatever, it is what it is. I had to have them. So anyway, the one, I don't think I showed that in the last clip. This emulsion tube, on the very end of it, there's an O-ring, which I did replace already. And also, like I said, where the jet goes in, there's now an O-ring in there. So what we're gonna do here, go ahead and throw our jet back in. The jet goes in first and then the spring. And then you're gonna go ahead and just put this little bolt back in. Like so. That O-ring somehow seals the jet, I believe. I don't know. Like that. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and put this gasket back on. On this gasket, you can actually see on the one side, you can see the outline where it been, this side was facing down. So, slide it through the emulsion tube like so. Line up your pins. That. Go ahead. Hopefully that'll show, yeah. Now we gotta get this gasket to. Oh, all right, never mind. Bet it helps if I put the thing on the right way. Gotta go like so. Go ahead, press everything into place. And voila. There you have it. One complete vector carburetor. This thing should run like $1 million. And we will find that out in a little bit here. But in other news, I figured I'd show you this real quick. Here's the gas I got coming out of this thing. Probably give you an indication of how long it's been sitting. She told me a year or two. I'm like, nah, I think that's a little longer than that. But I still got, I got pine needles galore in here still. I noticed even under the shroud and everything, there's some. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this shroud, and I gotta give this thing another bath, because even I noticed down on the bottom where the muffler's going up against the frame, there's pine needles everywhere, and I definitely don't want to have a fire here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this apart, give it a good wash, flush the gas tank out and everything, throw that carburetor back on, and we will see you in the driveway in a little bit. We're gonna fire this thing off and see how our carburetor job worked out. Hey guys, so we got this thing cleaned up a little bit. I figured I'd just give you a sneak peek before I button it back up. It's not as clean as I would like it to be, but we really need to hear this thing run before we actually go crazy on it. But it's still looking far better than it did. Got all these stupid pine needles out of there and everything. But We got that. And over here, we got it looking pretty good and everything. So, I got all the tins all cleaned up and everything. And, I don't know. I think it's time to button this thing back up, put some fuel to it, and see if she's gonna fire for us. So, we'll be back in a minute. Hey guys, unfortunately this video is gonna end up tragic. I'm sorry, it is what it is. I got a crack in the bottom of this float bowl. I did see it when I was working on it. The thing's sucking air, it's not running right, but it is actually running again. It will run and drive and everything. I gotta get another float bowl for the bottom of this thing. I just wanted to follow up on this. I know I haven't done a video in weeks. I'm sorry, I'm busy as hell right now. It's just, it is what it is. As you can see, it's raining right now. It rained for the last 3 weeks here in Kentucky, on and off. The grass is growing, the mowers aren't running, and I am busy. And it's just what it is. But anyway, let me at least, we can hear this thing run anyway. It doesn't run very good, but I mean, I'm just doing what I can, guys. I'm sorry. Very bad surge, obviously. The thing's sucking air and everything. I don't have time to play with this thing right now, but I just want to put out a video, do something, and please bear with me. I'm sorry, I'm a one-man show, guys. That's all I can tell you right this time being. But anyway, just bear with me. I will be back with more videos, I promise you, and we'll go from there with it. And I will be doing a follow-up, and we will have this mower run like $1 million. I promise you that. So you guys have a great night, and we'll catch you on the next one.